Hi friends, good evening. How are you? I'm making this video on a particular subject. In fact, I'm not much prepared. I just came in my mind, and then I thought I should speak on this subject because I've been hearing it for weeks and weeks. That is the Indo-China War, the probable Indo-China War that may happen in future, or because of this Ladakh problem which we are seeing right now. So before speaking on the Indo-China war, which may or may not happen in future, the chances are 80% it will never take place. I would just like to throw some few points in the history. If you see, China is basically not a country. There is something very similar in between China and Pakistan. They are basically not country. It is a mindset. So Chinese basically had a very small area. They occupied Tibet, they occupied Eastern Mongolia, they occupied Cantonia, they occupied the Eastern Turkmenistan, which they call the Hotan country. Similarly, Pakistan is like that. Pakistan, the real makers of the Pakistan were people from UP and Bihar. The real people from Pakistan never wanted a Pakistan. So you see Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, they all elected Congress governments, and the Muslim League never won there. The Muslim League really won in Bengal. So anyway, I'm drifting apart. Let's come to the point right now. So you see, China was created and it annexed Tibet, and then we had this 1962 Sino-China War. So before that, I would just like to show some few facts. That is, once we got our independence in 1947, the basic party which came to rule India, the Congress, was heavily infested with the leftist ideology. Excuse me, I use the word infested because people like V.K. Krishnamurti and many other leaders, they had heavy leftist leanings, and they then came up with this propaganda: Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. So I am a bhai, you are a bhai, we are both bhais and bhais never fight. So the average mentality of an India was China is just like your Nepal. Like India doesn't have a bordered fence with Nepal. It is an open fence. We don't require visas to enter each other's country. So that was the whole propaganda which was made about China. Like China is your big brother and they are going to stay there. And our Jawaharlal Nehru signed this Panchsheel agreement with their people of China, with the people of China, and the Panchsheel, that basically incorporated that each other, we won't attack each other, we have a fight or anything like that. Now what happened because of that? Complacency entered in Indian army. The Indian army is one of the bravest armies. Okay, I won't say the most equipped army or the richest army, but the bravest army. So the Indian army never ever thought of China as their enemy. So our border with China was never heavily guarded. So what happened in 1962 was there was an aggression from China, and China then attacked with her full force in India. India was poorly guarded. Also, we didn't have the best of the arms and all, and we lost the war. Now again, the word lost the war. Is it really a loss of war? I won't say it is loss of war because the statistics. I'm just carrying this book. It suggests something else. You see, the Chinese had an army of 80,000 and Indians had an army of 12,000, and it was a 1 month war. Now 1 month is a very very small time for a war. You see, the Afghanistan war, it is going on for 19 years. The basic mobilization took place for 15-20 days, and actually we had a 10 days of actual fight. In that 80,000 army which China had, the Chinese had uh, got killed 722 people. That is, the 80,000 army of China had 722 people killed, whereas our Indian army was only 12,000. That is 5 is to 1, and Indians only lost 1300 soldiers, but maximum not from fight. The first few was by an I called it an accident. It was a accidental attack. So now who is brave? You have 80,000 people. I have 12,000 people. I and you both fight. You lose 700 people. I lose 1300 people. Just imagine, was it really a war or a propaganda thrown by our leftist masters? Another thing, there was never ever a declaration of war. There was no use of air force. It was a border skirmish which had been turned into a war, and an idea was given that India, being weak, got defeated. Well, it was never like that. Had China been so brave, then again, just exactly 5 years later, they had another attack in Namchum River. I believe, yeah, it is Namchum River, where the Chinese got defeated by the Indian army. It is the Nathula and the Chola clashes. Now, what happened in Nathula and Chola? It's a very big. I won't have much time to cover like that. Basically, I will tell you. Indian army and the Chinese army, they both fought. Indian army lost 88 people. The Chinese 340. Now, who is brave? 88 of my people get killed and 340 of your get killed. Still, you are not able to capture my territory. So now coming to the basic question about the India-China war and who wins, who loses, all that. First of all, you try to understand the terrain of the place. It is a mountainous region, the Himalayas region. So even if China has better equipments, let's say tanks, artillery, guns, they are really of no use. You can't run a tank on a mountain. So if you see the India and China military comparison, the Chinese have something around 8,800 tanks, while we have around 3 to 4,000. So the tanks are now ruled out. Now you come to the aircraft. See, aircrafts are very, very effective when you have plain ground. But in case of mountainous ground, shelling is not so feasible, because you have got crutches and many areas where you can hide. So that is why you saw the US in the mountains of Tora Bora, even under bombing tons and tons of explosives, could do nothing to Osama bin Laden. He simply escaped to Abbottabad, Pakistan. So now coming to the basic question, who wins the war? So if any time a war takes place, it is going to be hand to hand combat, as well as there may be use of artillery guns. Artillery guns are ones like the Bofors and all that we have for short range firing. Both are nuclear countries, so neither is going to use their nuclear weapons to annihilate each other. So now in a hand to hand fight, try to understand the Chinese army is basically controlled by the communist and the communist politburo, and the army in China is not because of for a willingness to fight or a willingness to defend your motherland. It is more like a forced inscription. Any China soldier in a Chinese country, in the Chinese army, doesn't fight for a motherland out of her love for the motherland. It is forced by the Chinese government to fortify themselves. Whereas if you see the Indian army, our Indian army is basically has got a tradition of martial combat. So we don't have one Indian army. We have the Maratha regiment, we have the Punjab regiment, we have the light Sikh infantry, we have the Kumaon regiment, we have the Madras Sapiers, we have the Gorkhas. Now we have the Jats, Now they are all martial races. Now if I want to say something about the Sikhs, just understand how brave a Sikh is. True Sikh is basically he is governed by the rules of the Khalsa force. Now about the bravery of the Sikh regiment, I will just tell you something. There was a war which is known as the Battle of Saragari, which was fought in today's Pakistan at a place known as Saragari, very near to the Khyber Pass, where 21 Sikh soldiers led by a gentleman Havaldar Ishar Singh defeated a 10,000 army of Afghans. Now the Afghans are one of the strongest fighters. Afghans were whom the Russians couldn't defeat. Afghans are the one whom the US is not able to defeat in 19 years. That is the Taliban and all these things. But our Maharana Ranjit Singh not only defeated the Afghans but ruled over the Afghans for a period of 110 years. Now coming to our Gorkha regiment, there is a saying that which brave General Sam Manekshaw had said, that if a gentleman says he is not afraid of death, either he is lying or he is a Gorkha. So that is the legendary braveness of Gorkha, which has been proved. Like you have a gentleman Dibendu Pun, you can search Google and see. He was a soldier of Gorkha who was posted in the present day Afghanistan, is in Afghanistan conflict, where he single-handedly fought 90 Taliban soldiers, and when he finished his ammunition, rounds and everything, he took his kukri, that is the curved knife that the Gorkhas had, and he single-handedly slayed 16 Afghans. Now, a Gorkha is a very short guy, around 5'2", 5'3", maximum 5'4". 5'4" height is a very maximum height of a Gorkha, whereas Afghan is 6 feet tall, heavily built, muscular. So, a puny little Gorkha killing and slaughtering 19 strongly built Afghans. Who is brave? Then we have the Maratha regiment, who have the blood of Shivaji Maharaj, and history has proven people like Tanaji, who with a small force of 1800 or 2000 soldiers had taken the Sengar fort and defeated the Mughals, and that is how the Mughal rule ended in India slowly. That was the first surgical strike. So there are many stories like that. So anyway, I would like to close it up fast. So you see, even if ever there is a war in India and China along the eastern side, nuclear weapons will never be used. The fight will be fought one to one person, and there may be use of Sten guns and all these, and artillery guns may be used. Air force is of no effect there in the mountainous region. So India will always stand to win in case of a fight among India and China. That is it. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Vande Mataram.